Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode number 195. I am Brendan. UFC 281 just transpired. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Pereira. I've heard it pronounced both ways now, and I don't want to pronounce the guy's name wrong. I hope he takes no offense to that. Not that he's ever going to see or watch this. Doesn't matter. Anyway, this is the prelims. We're going to cover the prelims round by round here. We're going to break down the fights. If you're looking for the main event in the main card, that's in I just posted that last night, as well as some future matchup stuff. I just posted that with Nate. I just put that up earlier. That's in the last video. So this one's actually going to cover Brad Riddell versus Renato Moicano, Ryan Spann, Dominick Reyes, Erin Blanchfield versus Molly McCann, Andre Petroski versus Wellington Turman, and the rest of the prelims, including the early prelims. Before we get started, real quick, if you like MMA, you like podcasts about MMA, if you like fight breakdowns, you like fights in general, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out, because that's what I do. Put out 2 or 3 videos every single week, breaking this stuff down, trying to understand horrible decisions, going over all of the stats. All right. Brad Quake Riddell. Not getting it done here. Renato Moicano looked phenomenal. He looked great. He was looking for the counter knee when Brad was moving in. His jab and reach was pressing Brad back. Moicano actually stunned Brad with a head kick and a clean right hand. Brad was looking to swing really big, and with the right, and he just wasn't catching him. Brad was having issues with his entrance, so every time he would try to enter, Moicano would move out or avoid. Right, so he was moving out of range of Riddell, or he would adjust slightly, keep his eyes open really well, and then he would land a counter shot or two. Brad ended up tapping to the rear naked choke. I don't know what was going on, but Riddell didn't look the same. He didn't fight the hands when when Moicano got the back. Never fought the hands. He never really hit his stride in this fight. It looked like he was off. I don't know if it was Moicano just tagging him early and putting him. I mean, if you look at the striking numbers, apparently Riddell did outland him as far as significant strikes go, but Moicano definitely landed the more significant strikes. In my opinion, if you're looking for a specific fight from the card broken down, the timestamps are down below. So I don't know if Moicano's power, especially with that jab, was enough. I mean, he put out Cub Swanson with a jab. If that was enough to really break Riddell's, like rhythm and stuff, or he just was stunned the whole time. It's hard to tell. Also, more of the story, less. The story wasn't even about the fight. It's about what Moicano said after the fight. So he was talking so much. He's never been this way. He was so excited. He was like hyped up and he was having fun. He's like talking about himself in the third person. He's like, Moicano wants fucking money. he's like, I love you, Joe Rogan. He's like, I've been watching you. It's like train by day, podcast by night. And like, it's so much fun. He's talking about how he got disrespected after taking a 5-round fight on short notice. How he was down because he lost to his idol in Jose Aldo, but how he's back. I mean, the guy, you want to look at his record. Beating Brad Riddell is this last fight, the one that he's talking about getting disrespected against Rafael Dos Anjos. He took this 5-round fight on short notice because he happened to be in town, or he happened to be there or available. And later in the fight, he actually did stun Dos Anjos. Like later on in the rounds, I think if you look at it, yeah. So it was the last round. Moicano really stepped it up and did some damage to Dos Anjos here in the last round. So even though he took it on short notice and he looked a little off and a little bit slow himself, he made a really good showing late, right? And early on in the fight, Dos Anjos just did work. But he's got a win over Alexander Hernandez, Jai Herbert. Okay. He lost to Rafael Fiziev, who is a monster. Beat Hadzovic. He lost to Chen Sung Jung, title challenger. Jose Aldo, like one of the greatest ever. And he's just had a rough go of it, losing to really good fighters. And honestly, other than that, he's been excellent. He really has. He's had a really strong schedule, and he deserves respect. He's a great fighter. it looked like after watching that last fight with Rafael dos Anjos, when I was first watching it, I remember saying like, oh, this guy, he's fallen off and it doesn't feel like he's the same anymore. I was wrong. Because of that last round, you could tell like, oh, he really picked it up and looked really good. So congratulations, Renato Moicano. I hope you get the respect after this. You deserve it. Please keep talking like that on the mic with that kind of energy. Come with it. Be fun. Like people are gonna love you when you do that stuff. It's great, man. I love it. People love that stuff. All right, Dominick Reyes versus Ryan Spann. This did not go well for the Reyes. Spann missed weight. We talked about this in the last one, so if you want to hear our discussion about that, we mentioned about 2/3 of the way through the podcast, we were talking about how New York's weight cutting procedure doesn't allow for that extra hour if you're not in a title fight. So in case you don't know, when you are cutting weight, if you miss weight, you get an extra hour to make weight. And New York says, we don't want that except for title fights, which I think is stupid. So either allow the extra hour or don't. And I understand that title fights don't allow for that extra pound allowance that you get in non-title fights. That doesn't matter. I think that's stupid. Spann caught Reyes really early with a right hand that stunned him. Reyes was throwing naked kicks. And then as I was writing that, he got caught and got put to sleep. Holy shit. That left hand, it was a left hand. It was like a stiff jab that he just turned over right at the end. And Ryan Spann put him out cold. Ryan Spann said that he didn't train for more than 3 weeks for any of his previous fights. And he's had some good wins. Losing his UFC debut. No, it's a Dana White Contender Series. Doesn't count, in my opinion. And beat Rogerio Nogueira, Luis Henrique, Devin Clark, Sam Alvey. Those are all decent wins. A loss to Johnny Walker. Shit happens. Beat Misha. Lost to Anthony Smith. That's a hard one. Beat Ian Kutalaba and said, so I'm listing all these off because he said he never trained for more than 3 weeks. With this new camp out of Fortis MMA, I believe, he said this is the first real training camp that he's ever had. And this is the first fight he's ever been in where he wasn't afraid to get tired. So he didn't fight like he... So if you know you have cardio issues, you often fight more conservative because you know that if you unload before you got the guy hurt or before you're ready for a finish, you could gas yourself, and therefore, however long the fight has left, you know you got nothing left. And if you've ever been in that position, for those of you guys who are watching and listening, I don't know if everybody has always, good grief. I don't know if everyone has experienced this, because if you didn't play sports growing up, or you don't work out now, or if you don't run actively or things like that, or even if you do, maybe you never pushed yourself like this, or maybe you're just blessed with great cardio. When you are exhausted, and I mean exhausted, like you don't have any energy left in your body. I mean, there's an old adage, fatigue will make cowards of us all, because it's not that you're a coward, although that's kind of what it looks like, because you give up, but you got nothing left. Your lungs are burning, your heart's pumping, your arms feel like they weigh 1,000 pounds, your legs feel like they're stuck in the ground. You feel helpless. You feel nothing. So Spann mentioning, saying, I'm afraid of that. I understand that, but not training for a fight doesn't necessarily help your cause in that. And now that he's doing proper training, maybe he can turn it around and become a real light heavyweight contender, because he's got the skills, he's got the explosiveness, he's got the power. Obviously, let's see if he can stay on his feet and really put a run together here, because he looked excellent, smooth. I mean, Dominick Reyes has kind of fallen off after his title shot, and I partly feel bad for the guy, but that's the sport. But yeah, he's still a good fighter. All right, Erin Blanchfield versus Molly Meatball McCann. Molly got a wake-up call. She got taken down early, and not much. Blanchfield was landing well on the feet, and then she got a takedown right into side control, and then she got crucifix position and started beating on McCann. She worked her way to a Kimura multiple times. McCann refused to tap, adjusted, got a Kimura again. McCann is tough as shit. She refused to tap, and then the second time she cranked that Kimura so far back that she had to tap. Erin Blanchfield's legit. She looks good. She's undefeated in the UFC, 4 wins in a row. She's 10-1 overall. She's got wins over JJ Aldrich, Miranda Maverick. That's a good one. And then Sarah Alpar, who not notable, but good win regardless. She's undefeated in the UFC. And Molly McCann, she was on a hot streak. People love her and all that stuff, but that's not going to get it done with that kind of technique and not being able to stop the ground game. That doesn't mean everybody can do that to her, but those who can have a clear path to victory here. Moving on, Andre Petroski versus Wellington Turman. This fight, not bad. Not a bad fight. Nice hand from Turman, straight through the guard, and he was using leg kicks early. Andre landed a right hand finally, and Turman he was on their treat a little bit. Everything that Turman was throwing is tight and short, not extending, keeping him safe, but it was also limiting his power. Andre with a single to a nice double and then a dump takedown. Turman landed more damage through the whole first round, and Andre had his moments, but he's just behind. He needed to keep him down and get ground control. He just didn't get it. This first round here, if you look at the striking numbers, Turman was out in front, 33-25, and that's how I scored it. I had 10-9 for Turman. The second round, the kicks from Turman really started to add up to the body and the legs. Andre got a takedown after Turman tried to sink in a guillotine, and then Turman got on top with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, so a lot of time to work. Andre able to get up after Turman gets another takedown. Then Andre used this beautiful transition to get to mount, then half guard. He didn't do much damage till about 8 seconds left. It was really close, the second round was. Turman didn't do much damage, but when he was on top, Turman didn't do that much damage when he was on top either. That round was super close. I gave it to Petroski. He was out in front as far as striking numbers go, 12-7. You want to look at ground control. He did have more ground control. I felt like he did more. The numbers kind of bear that out. So there we go. I had it 19-19 going into the third round here. Andre right in on the takedown, then a slam. He used the guillotine to get to mount. Andre was staying on top, landing a little bit of damage when he can. Turman got up. Andre got the back and a body lock, slam down. Andre dominated this whole last round. If he landed more damage, it could have been a 10-8, but Petroski definitely got this last round. I gave him a 10-9. Somebody gave that first round. Dave Crosby gave the round. Actually, 2 people did. Dave Torelli and Doug Crosby both gave Petroski that first round. I don't know about that. He was outlanded, outdamaged, in my opinion. Andre had his moments, but it wasn't enough, in my opinion. I wrote down 30-27. I don't agree with that. I have to look at the numbers, and looking at the numbers here in this first round, I don't agree with that decision, with those scorecards. They did get the decision right, but that does not excuse a bad scorecard. Just because you pick the right winner doesn't mean you scored it correctly. All right, here. Matt Frevola. Matt the Steamroller Frevola. Taking on Ottman Azaitar. Fight didn't last too long. Matt with really big actions. He landed a couple left hands at the end of combinations when he was working his way inside. He was very low in his stance, and he was darting in and trying to land some big shots. And at the end of his combinations, he landed a left hand once or a couple times. Azaitar landed a beautiful right hand that kind of gave Matt some pause. Matt landed a right hand that stunned Ottman, and then Ottman stunned him with a left hand. It was all action. It was great. I mean, look at the striking numbers, 11-10 in favor of Frevola, but Matt he was pressed against the fence when Ottman was moving forward, and then he lands a right hand and then a beautiful left to just put Ottman right the fuck out. Like, sleep, night, gone. Like, he just went out, man. Holy crap. That was a hard shot. It was in close distance, too, so that was kind of crazy. All right, let's talk about a fight that went the distance here. I know I'm running through these fast, but they did go by really quick. There was a lot of finishes here in the first round. Not a ton to talk about. Silvana Gomez Juarez versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Kowalkiewicz getting the decision victory here. Through some controversial, we'll talk about it, what happened when they were bringing in the scorecards. It was kind of strange. All right, so first round here, Gomez was active with the jab, measuring distance and throwing a ton. Karolina got the takedown and took the back immediately with the body triangle. Gomez escaped with 20 seconds left in the round, and in my opinion, that first round was all Kowalkiewicz. 3 minutes and 45 seconds of control time. She was on the back the whole time looking for submissions. You want to go say, hey, Gomez Juarez did more damage. I don't believe you. 6-5 in favor of Silvana. She didn't land something so significant that it could erase her being her back being taken and defending submission attempts for 3 minutes and 45 seconds of that round. No. So I gave that round to Kowalkiewicz. Second round here. Gomez was still on the back foot. Neither fighter really landed much damage early in this round. Gomez landed a swinging right hand to the side of the head. It wasn't quite at the end of the punch. So it was probably about 3/4 or 80% of the way through the punch. So all the power wasn't in there yet, but it was the most significant shot of the fight so far. Karolina was during her blitzes she was landing shots, but they weren't big shots. Gomez with more impact on her shots. I feel like Karolina landed more. I don't know about the numbers, and that's what they bear out, right? Just in case you're watching this for the first time, I don't look at the striking numbers when I'm scoring the fight. I score it as if I'm a judge, so they don't have the numbers, so I shouldn't either. And Kowalkiewicz did land more, 31-27. I leaned towards Juarez in this round. I did. I felt like she did more damage, and she landed bigger shots, and she was throwing more out there, so she wasn't more accurate. But accuracy does not mean you're a better fighter or that you win a round. She threw 105 shots. Those are offense, right? Dodging those shots or avoiding them is defensive, so it's its own reward. That does not score. Aggression, trying to finish a fight, throwing strikes, that scores, even if you don't land with them. So the striking numbers are pretty close, 31-27. That's not a huge gap that she had to close with damage, and I felt like she did enough. I gave her that second round. Third round, Gomez was, Gomez was throwing more out there. She was just throwing more, and she landed more in this round. It was a close round, too. She was just landing with more power. The numbers probably go to Karolina. I was wrong on that. I thought she landed more shots. She didn't. 38-44 in favor of Juarez. It was a close round. Gomez landed more shots. I leaned towards Gomez, but Karolina could get the nod. The commissioner came in and grabbed the scorecard from Bruce Buffer before he could read it, and there was about 2 minutes where he was writing down on it, went back to the judges. Kind of weird. And if you want to get conspiratorial, you can say a bunch of stuff. Karolina got the win. It's not a robbery. I understand it. They were very close rounds, and it really depends on how you score some of the bigger shots that landed. Moving on. More excitement here. Michael Trizano. Michael Trizano taking on Seungwoo Choi. Oh, man. I almost said... I almost did what DC did. So Seungwoo Choi, there was this double knockdown in the beginning of the round, like 20 seconds into the round. They both knocked each other down with a left hook. It was hilarious. Trizano put him down with a left hook. Choi was landing well, but Trizano landed a big right straight. Choi was more active and landing more, which early on. And then Trizano lands. When he lands, it's harder. And then Choi actually stunned him with a left hand. Michael with a big right hand. Choi swinging hard with that left hook. And then, holy shit, Michael lands a huge left and puts him out like a fucking light. Holy crap, he hit hard. Good grief. Fun win. Here's the striking numbers. 32-26 in favor of Trizano. Like I said, that was an all-action fight. If you did not watch these prelims, go back and watch some of these, man. They are good. Fun to watch. All right, let's talk about Julio Arce versus Montel Jackson. One of the few fights here that did go the distance. Good fight. A little bit lackluster as far as landed strikes go, but it was enough. And then so Jackson uses a takedown feint to work his way in the clinch and then held him there for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes, I guess, here. Arce landed a left hand after both guys were kind of just jabbing around. Both guys landed pretty much about the same amount. of damage. Jackson had more control time. Arce got a takedown right at the end of the round, but there was no damage from the takedown, so it wasn't like a high-altitude slam or anything like that. I went to Jackson for that first round. I can understand if you gave it to Arce, but the damage was almost equal, and the control time, even though there was a takedown, went to Jackson, so I gave that first round to Jackson. Second round here, both of them were really waiting and second-guessing their movements. They were both pulling back on a lot of their shots. They weren't really committing to them. Arce took the center, but he really didn't land much. Montel was using the right hand lead hook counter. Jackson landing better now, probably about like halfway through this round. One or two at a time, but he was avoiding most of the damage coming back at him. He did outstrike him in this round, 19-15. Jackson controlled the end of the round against the cage, just like the start of the first round. And I had him win in this round too. I had him up 20-18. And then Jackson hurt him with a jab, and Arce fell to his back. He looked to lock up a triangle, but Arce did no real damage here in this last round. It was clearly Jackson. So it really depends on how you scored that first round, but clearly it was 30-27. Clearly it was a win for Jackson. Doug Crosby did give that first round to Arce. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand why you would. I think that's wrong, but that's okay. And then to open up the fight here, or sorry, not open up the fight. To open up the night, we had Carlos Ulberg versus Nikolai Negumereanu. Not much to tell you guys here. Ulberg ran away quite a bit. He was landing leg kicks, and it damaged Negumereanu pretty bad. He wasn't able to move very well. He was chasing him down the whole time. Ulberg was sidestepping and running away, and he caught him. Ulberg with a left hand stunned him, and then he put him down, and he fell. Oh my god. Follows up, and he put Negumereanu right the fuck out. Lots of knockouts in the first rounds here. If you didn't watch the prelims, they go by pretty quick. You can fast forward through the commercials because a lot of these fights ended in the first round. All right, that is my last video for the week. This was the prelims. If you're looking for the main card, that's 2 videos ago. If you're looking for some breakdowns and some, or not breakdowns, but if you're looking for some some freeform talk, that was in the last video with Nate. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. It means a lot to me. If this is the only video you watch this weekend, I totally understand. I appreciate your time. It means a lot to me. I do. I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have an amazing week, and I love y'all.